thousands of years ago, they were Apollo, Zeus, Ares. Now they are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the other heroes and villains of DC and Marvel Comics. Join us every week as we discuss the legendary stories, characters, concepts, and other parts of comics as we examine the modern pantheon of heroes. Let's get heroic. Welcome to Under Two Capes, the podcast for the comic book fan. Welcome to Under Two Capes. I am Jarrett, and today I have a couple of things I want to go over. First off, last night I formulated a little schedule that's going to work out for the entire summer. That's going to be what content is going to come out for the Comics League Network YouTube channel, and obviously this podcast. So just want to go over that real quick, and then we'll get to today's episode. So first off, on Monday is going to be the Star Wars show, Knights of Mandalore. It'll either be recorded then and uploaded on Monday, or it'll be recorded earlier, depending on when people can show up, and then it'll be uploaded. The point is, on Monday, you'll be getting a new Star Wars show. Tuesday, we're going to do the yet-to-be-titled Halo show, where we talk about Halo. Wednesday, today, we're going to talk about Snyder Cut content, or like Snyder content, per se. Thursday is going to be the Under Two Capes news show. And then Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, or sometime in that weekend, we're going to do the traditional Under Two Capes show. So basically, that's the way the YouTube channel content is going to work for the summer. And depending on the semester, next semester, to this coming semester, the way it's going to work for the foreseeable future. All right. So first off, hope everyone's doing well. And I just wanted to provide an update on the Snyderverse, because I understand that some people are feeling a little bit like discouraged from everything with the Snyderverse. So I found this article on Bounding Into Comics entitled Geekosity's Mikey Sutton suggests that the clues to the Snyderverse being restored are in plain sight. So in other words, he is saying that yes, at some point, probably in the near future, we will we will be getting the other two Justice League movies, which would be so dope because I want to see Superman fight Darkseid. All right. So the article goes into, so I'm going to read the article and then we'll go over it. Nothing is over till it's over. Exactly. The Snyderverse isn't dead, just asleep, barring an official announcement to the contrary by Warner Brothers. So in other words, ignore what Warner Brothers themselves say. If HBO Max and the head of HBO Max, Jason Kyler, or Zack Snyder say that that's it, that's done, then it's done. Because remember, HBO Max is the one that green-lighted the Snyder Cut. Wasn't Warner Brothers. In fact, Warner Brothers said no. And in fact, Warner Brothers actually themselves indicated, because they were asked when HBO Max was announced that they could put the Snyder Cut on there, they said, we have no plans to. So in other words, until anyone from until HBO Max themselves, or Jason Kyler or Snyder say no, it's still on. And by the way, ignore that whole ad that was put on HBO Max about the completion of Zack Snyder's trilogy. Okay, so to that end, Geekosity offers reasons why you should be optimistic that the bell won't toll on the DC EU as we know it anytime soon. The main reason involves a change at the executive level. This is really key. As WB Pictures Group chairman Toby Emmerich could be on his way out a year from now and is reportedly already engaging in negotiating tactics. So in other words, Toby Emmerich is one of the people, first off, that was involved in the whole Ray Fisher situation. And he is one of the executives that's like majorly anti-Snyder. So if he goes, that's one less obstacle. And what's interesting is I was watching a stream last night and they were talking about how, okay, so the reason why, so now the reason why Warner Brothers hates Snyder is because they're so like stuck in that old Hollywood mindset that about the movie theater, where Snyder is perfectly content with putting his stuff on the streaming services, as indicated by Army of the Dead and the Snyder Cut. I mean, obviously, at some point, he would love to see to have movie theater screenings. But for right now, if he told them, "Oh, we'll do the other ones," and you can just put it on on HBO Max, and then at some point we'll put it in theaters. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with that. All right, citing the Hollywood Reporter, Mikey Sutton shared that infamous mogul David Geffen contacted Netflix on Emmerich's behalf to gain leverage in a future negotiation with Warner Brothers. Sutton explains that this is called the takeaway and is a method of looking like you're weighing your options. Should there be writing on the wall, Warner Brothers may try to keep Emmerich if other firms issue a bid for him. The Geekosity editor-in-chief adds that this could be a sign Emmerich has the nuclear codes and that his departure may lead to a certain house of cards collapsing. Furthermore, on the narrative end of DC films, we have the incorporation of the multiverse, which would not cut into Snyder's cinematic territory, even if Andy Muschietti's upcoming The Flash wipes the slate clean. So in other words, they could still do it. They could still do the other two movies and just say it's on another Earth and just say what Flashpoint does actually if it moves everything to a new Earth. That's all they have to do. Like the Kal-El from J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman movie. By the way, don't count out Henry Cavill on that movie yet, because they've already said that that's not going to exist in the DCEU canon like we have it now. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Henry Cavill's out of Superman. Thank God. All right, so also, if that movie were to fail, guess what's going to happen? Warner Brothers will be forced to go to Snyder and say, well, you were the only thing that we got. Like this way, if the next couple of movies for Warner Brothers, for DC, don't do well, at least as well as the Snyder cut, they are going to go to Snyder and say, please, we'll do whatever you want. What's more, Snyder's just new Netflix movie, Army of the Dead, which I'm so pumped for, just a few days out of release, where AT&T, Warner Brothers parent company, and the driving force behind the competition of the Snyder Cut, will be paying close attention to how it performs. In other words, they'll be looking, because what this is about, adjust my camera. What's key about Army of the Dead, the reason why this applies significantly to the Snyder Cut is because Warner Brothers is going to look at the Snyder brand. How is the Snyder brand perform? Because there is an argument that the Snyder Cut only did well because Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, because of those IPs. But if an altogether different IP that all it has in common with Justice League is Snyder's name on it does fantastically for Netflix, then it's like then AT&T will look at that and go, put him on. We have to hurry up and sign an exclusive deal with him on HBO Max, and put him on. Is to tell him HBO Max is your world. No one will interfere with you. Just do what you want to do there. Warner might consider the Snyderverse dead in the boardroom and in the trades, but Sutton thinks it's more applicable to say that things are on ice, similar to the situation between Disney and Sony when it came to Spider-Man. They won't leave money on the table, or at least AT&T won't let them do that. That said, restoring the Snyderverse won't be instantaneous, Sutton concludes. It will happen. It'll have to be built brick by brick, which, yeah, that's another thing I want to assure people. It's not going to just happen. Because for one thing, they have to make sure if it fits with Snyder's schedule, because he has other projects he wants to do. They have to make sure if it fits in the schedules of like Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ben Affleck, all the stars of Justice League. But if everything basically follows that path, it's very possible. And honestly, I'm still believing that we will get the other two Justice League movies. I'm still believing that it'll totally lead to a restoration of the Snyderverse, and we'll have those movies in addition to the other ones, because I'm excited for Matt Reeves' Batman. I'm intrigued by the Snyderverse. That's a major slip. I'm excited for Matt Reeves' Batman and the Flash movie. I'm indifferent on the Superman movie because I know Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to do the Superman, but that's beyond the point. When it comes to, okay, so, and then honestly, another thing I think is going to happen sooner than later, is they're going to release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. Because what I think will happen is Warner Brothers will say, hey, listen, either HBO Max or something like that will say, after Suicide Squad comes out, the James Gunn Suicide Squad, they'll say, hey, we have this other movie that can complement the brand Suicide Squad. So let's go ahead and do that. Plus, David Ayer has said, yeah, I have a cut of Suicide Squad. It's not going to cost nearly as much as the Snyder cut to get out there. So it's not like it's going to cost like $70 million. It only makes sense from a business standpoint to just release the Ayer cut. Obviously, don't do it now, but you. All right. What we mean is, and I agree with the sentiment. Don't do it before the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie comes out, because and David Ayer himself has been very vocal on this, because then it's competing for that Suicide Squad audience. Let that have its own thing, and then they'll release the Ayer cut. So in other words, it looks like we're gonna get that too. And I wonder if they'll do a black and white version of it. I don't think so. I think that was purely a Snyder thing, because remember the Justice Gray edition is how it existed on his computer for like years. In other words, that was the version of Justice League that he had, which I think is so cool. Personally, I watch more of the colored version of Justice League. That's just me. But at some point this summer, I definitely will check out the Justice Gray edition, because I've seen some of my favorite scenes in the Gray edition, and it looks good. All right. Well, anyway, now that we got through that article, I was thinking, let's see what else we can do. Also, we could get the Cyborg movie, because Ray Fisher himself has said, hey, listen, if Snyder's involved, I'll do it. Now, let's go to, I'm going to look up the Justice League storyboards, because I want to go over this with y'all to talk about the amazing plans that Snyder said he was going to do. Now, note that if they restore the Snyderverse, in other words, Snyder has said that if 2 and 3 happen, he's going to change a few things from that storyline, so there'll be some surprise, which I'm cool with. He said the basic bone structure of it will be there. So I am going to share my screen, and we are going to go over this together. All right. So let's start. So what we're going to do here, okay, so Justice League 2 and 2A, okay. Although we originally pitched as one film, we believe the characters and arcs of our heroes and villains, along with the epic battles and darks. Actually, you know what? I'm going to find a better one that actually has those storyboards, because I want to make sure it's the actual ones that were planned. These are the leaked ones. Are these leaked ones? All right. I'm just looking that up. All right. Well, actually, for right now, let's talk about what we were going to get in these, what we can expect from these movies. Because again, I'm 100% operating on the assumption, and I think it will happen, that we'll get those other 2 movies. So let's still operate under the assumption that we're getting those movies. Now, so first things first, he's going to kill Wonder Woman, which I think is like, that takes some cojones, bro. So apparently what was going to happen is Wonder Woman, in terms of her arc, was going to be able to return to Themyscira, and that's set up at the end of Justice League. And for future reference, and once again, we've been very vocal on this podcast about it, we refuse to acknowledge that the Justice League ever happened. So when we refer to Justice League, we're referring to Zack's version of Justice League. That's the canon version, at least when it applies to us, and I believe most of the fans, despite what Warner Brothers says. But anyway, so in Justice League at the end, you see her, she walks up on that little walkway at the end where it's like showing the montage of the League doing their thing. And everyone's happy because the League's established. She's holding it's the arrow of Artemis, looking out over the water, kind of longingly, because she's homesick. So that was kind of set up. So she's going to go there And then somehow, this is the part that I'm still a little bit like iffy on, because I haven't gotten this explained, is how is Dr. Morrow still alive? Now, we're living in a world, we're operating in a world where we have a law enforcement officer with a green power ring that can manifest a fist out of his thoughts, or a god that gets his powers from the sun. So it doesn't have to be that much of a really complicated explanation. But anyway, so ignoring how Morrow lives, I'm really hoping it's not a wishing rock, because that would be total BS. But anyway, ignoring that, somehow she lives. And then Morrow just gas bombs Themyscira, which results in Wonder Woman and all the Amazons dying. So he's starting off with all that happening. So Wonder Woman's dead. So we're going to assume on that. And we kind of saw this in Justice League to a point. So let me see. I am plugging that in. Oh, that's how. Okay, so here's the storyboards. I'm actually going to go through this because it explains it perfectly. All right. So we open with the Justice League in action during a natural disaster, working as the efficient team they become. Sweet. Weeks after Justice League 1, they work together, they save lives, but they're refugees, so political tension is high. The world is on edge. So they're saving refugees, and that naturally causes an international incident. In the aftermath, the League regroups at the only headquarters they know, the Batcave. Flash is enthusiastic, Superman remains distant, at least with Batman, and Aquaman's facing a continued skepticism on the surface world and his involvement in it by the people of Atlantis. Wonder Woman relates to Arthur. Her people abandoned this world long ago. It is clear that although the League is united, the world is not. The League goes back to their individual lives to mend old wounds, except for Batman, who's dealing with fresh ones, left alone in his cave. Okay, so Bruce and Lois. Okay, so this is something that was already changed, but I'm just going to go through it. Bruce secretly meets with Lois, both of them still searching for Lex Luthor. There's tension between them since Superman's return. The meeting ends after Lois reveals to Bruce that Superman needs her more than ever. Bruce knows Lois is hiding something from him. All right. Meanwhile, deep in the Brazilian jungle, Dr. Morrow, last seen in Wonder Woman, is still alive, experimenting on herself, prolonging her life. Okay, so at this point, she is alive. I'm sending a text. Okay, so at that point, she has all these science experiments to extend her life. So, okay, now I get it. Now it's perfectly fine. I'm totally fine with that. All right. So, prolonging her life and testing a new chemical weapons on unfortunate human lab rats. Like an obsessed stalker, Morrow has spent decades collecting information and artifacts on Diana and the Amazons. Now that Diana has become known to the world, Lex offers Morrow a chance at revenge. The same revenge he wants on Diana's friends, Superman and Batman. Morrow accepts unless Luthor smiles to let it begin. So Lex breaks Orm and Black Manta out of the desert prison where they were in prison at the end of Aquaman. Outside of Central City in Iron Heights Penitentiary, Lex finds Snart, who is Captain Cold, where he was left in the Flash movie, I guess at the time, and offers Leonard a chance to advance his weaponry and take down the fastest man alive. Cut Lex and the villains with the League returning to their lives. In Metropolis, Superman asks Lois where he's going to tell you what, Chloe. Okay. You shouldn't call him Clark. All right. Says he can hear a second heartbeat, and she shouldn't call him Clark. Clark is dead. The world believes that too. Superman mistakes Lois' hesitation for fear. All right. So this is also going to be Superman kind of explaining, don't call me Clark in public, because Clark Kent, as far as the world knows, is dead. Because apparently they never put together that Superman and whatever. Okay. At the Louvre in Paris, Diana and Menelope, the Amazon who came to warn Diana about Steppenwolf, or not really warn because it was the era of Artemis, obviously a lot of stuff is going to change. There may be a way to remember the path back to Themyscira. Diana may use the lasso on herself to unlock her mind. It's a dangerous process, but Diana wants to help Menelope get home, and Diana wants to see her mother again, and she might reject her. She puts the lasso on, so suddenly she's overwhelmed by visions. In the beginning, they're wonderful. For her time in over a century, Diana sees her home soaring over the island. She sees the Amazons and finally her mother. Then her visions grow dark. Diana sees herself as the god of war in a battle with Superman. As she kills them, Diana cries out, "Oh boy!" That would be so dope to see that, because that's kind of got a Wonder Woman Dead Earth feel to it. Menelope frees Diana from her prison, despite the pain and confusion. Diana remembers, so she knows her way. So this is how she knows her way back to Themyscira. So Barry's at a hearing. Okay, so and Stan has examined new evidence that Barry and Vic had presented and reopened the case. So Barry's elated. So, and then in Central City, Flash and Cyborg are trying to get Barry's father out of prison, because if you know your Flash history, Flash's father was put in prison for the murder of Barry's mother. However, the father didn't do it. So that's really important. So along the underwater continental shelf, Aquaman and Morrow are in a violent battle with the last of the Seven Kingdoms, the Unseen. It explodes around tidal pools and active volcano lava flows. Aquaman has the seventh king on the ground, his trident in his throat. The seventh king tells him to kill him, but Arthur says he wants an alliance, but when the seventh king refuses, Arthur leaves frustrated. The last kingdom refuses to unite. Oh boy. Batman and Lois are trying to find Lex Luthor. And then, okay, so Batman moves deep into the Canadian wilderness, doing recon, following up on a lead that Lex may have been sighted in one of the remote towns. He fights his way through a secret location, only to discover Lex Luthor is hiding out. But the Riddler, oh, okay. So this would be the Riddler showing up. And so this would be back to the Canadian wilderness. Batman faces himself against Lex. She also talked to Lars's lair. Keeping it offline and private, she's grown pale. She realizes Morrow is one like my PR. He's forming a team of his own. Yeah, so this is when they indicate that the league is has some competition. Shouldn't we have a league of our own? Even though I hate that movie. Okay, so Mary begin their final Kingdom of the Seven, bring the final Kingdom of the Seven into their alliance for the first time since Atlantis sank. Is once again united. So that's great. So we have that. They arrive on Themyscira. Down to shore. Diana returns to Themyscira, and the mother's like all happy in Central City for the first time since he was a kid. There's no wall of glass between Barry and his father, so he's released from prison and exonerated. So that's great. In Metropolis, Lois returns to Superman, tells him she will accept Clark is gone, but she has to go, still on the trail of Lex. In Gotham, Batman returns from the wilderness, shaken by the Riddler's proclamation, and then. Let me see here. Oh, the Riddler apparently kills himself. All right. Let me see. Intercut with Lois discovering from General Swanwick that Lex has the 3 boxes. Oh, no. And it actually says that here. So, all right. Lex activates his plan. At the 3 Rivers, helicopters survey the area. Lex on the scene, his team elsewhere, but in contact with him. Lex activates the boxes, his true plan, to destroy the Justice League and take the secret power called the anti-life equation for his own. It will give him the power over all living life. The anti-life equation grows as Lex turns on the boxes. Cyborg blinks, feeling like all data just stop. And the boom tubes erupt in front of Lex, surprising him. Emerging from the portal, Desaad, the horrific, sadistic servant of his master, Darkseid, who emerges behind him. Darkseid takes the power of the anti-life for himself. Oh no! Once again, in the Batcave, Superman, Batman, and Lois discover that regroup. They learn that of Darkseid's arrival. Superman tells Batman that this is a fight among the gods. She's my world. He tells Bruce, protect her. Superman flies. Oh, okay, that's okay. All right. So for those who don't know, BVS, during the Nightmare Vision, Superman shows up. And obviously, at this point, he's been turned by the anti-life equation. Darkseid. Superman just told Batman in the script. He said, "She's my world protector." But that's so obviously. What will happen here? And this isn't exactly a spoiler because Zack has openly admitted this. What will happen is Darkseid will kill Lois Lane, and thus and then turns Superman to blame Batman because he was supposed to protect her. And then there he will corrupt him with the anti-life equation. So that's why Superman, before he kills Batman and BVS, goes, "She was my world and you took her from me." All right, that's dope. After Superman leaves, Bruce and Lois argue. Bruce knows she's pregnant. Lois ends the argument by telling Bruce, "You're not the father." She tries to tell Bruce about what she's discovered with what Lex is planning, but he won't listen. As the three at the Three Rivers, taking in Darkseid's arrival. Okay, Lex tells Darkseid that he has the power to kill Superman. Darkseid moves forward, acknowledging Lex. He says to Lex, "I don't want him dead. I want Superman to submit." The girl, says Lex, she's the key to breaking his spirit. Superman arrives in a battle with Darkseid erupts, but Darkseid booms to Lois, the Batcave collapsing around her, and Batman at his arrival. Batman has arrival. Okay, Bruce looks down at Darkseid and Lois from behind the glass wall above. Darkseid stares at Lois. Bruce is overwhelmed. What can he do? Superman flies at incredible speed to Gotham. He arrives just in time to see Darkseid unleashing his Omega beams from his eyes, turning Lois to ash. And there you go. This is where Superman turns evil, which is so great. So at that point, he unleashes the anti-life equation, and then what happens is then so at one point the League is systematically taken off one by one. Like Aquaman is killed by Ocean Master and Black Manta at Aquaman's coronation, and then Mera escapes with a scar. Morrow gasses Themyscira and kills Wonder Woman and every single Amazon. Captain Cold attacks the Flash. Cyborg is blown in half, and then Batman escapes, but Lex Luthor is then killed by Superman with the red eyes. So, yeah, that's not exactly going to end well. Okay, now and then the movie cuts 5 years later, and then it's basically showing the Earth that we got in the in the Nightmare timeline from BVS, where Bruce emerges from that bunker, and it's like this big apocalyptic wasteland, which is so cool. So coming over the dune, post-apocalyptic Batman, as seen in BVS, with a ragtag army of rebels, the surviving members of the League walk over the rise of a dune to see the dilapidated Wayne Manor. Batman leads them. Flash drags what's left of Cyborg behind him. Bruce looks up in the sky grimly. We need to get inside before night. He's coming. Featuring me, Superman. So Justice League 2, so that'll be like part one. I imagine that would be part one of Justice League 2. Justice League 3 opens. Green Lantern comes to Earth. Oh, the cool Green Lantern. And most likely John Stewart, Wayne T. Carr. Love you, man. That's so cool. We open by introducing Green Lantern to the Justice League film universe. He's inside his ship, crashing to Earth, desperately trying to make contact with someone, anyone, but there's no response, only static. Okay, I see. Okay, so he's not. So the Guardians didn't somehow find out about Darkseid invading Earth. They just he was just passing by, and his ship got shot down, probably by one of Darkseid's ships in orbit. So now the ship crash lands hard. So disoriented, Lantern hears someone outside opening the door. A silhouette figure peers in. Batman. It's Batman. I'm Batman. Opening on the 5 years later Earth scene at the end of Justice League 2, parademons converge on the ship. Batman defending Lantern. So it's probably a battle with, oh boy, Deadshot shows up and helps Batman. Okay, taking me with the Dark Knight. Then they're joined by the Flash. Okay. Batman barks at Flash to stay out of the fight. Barry's too important to the mission to risk it getting hurt. Because again, they're establishing that the mission is send Barry back in time to stop this whole thing from happening. In other words, save Lois Lane. That's what that scene is in BVS as well. When the Flash comes back and says, it's Lois Lane. She's the key. Protect Lois Lane. And that's that. So but it's soon overwhelmed by parademons. Flash is almost killed, but Lantern saves them. The iconic friendship between the two begins. Sweet. Lantern looks across the Earth, analyzing it with his ring. He explains to them who he is and who the Green Lantern Corps is or was, how he came here looking for his partner from Earth, who's missing and presumed dead, like most of the Lanterns. Ooh, so the Green Lanterns are also decimated. That's dope. Darkseid's army is paving the way across the universe. Oh, okay. So this is kind of like in Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, because if you notice in that movie, we see Darkseid on Oa ravaging the Green Lantern Corps and destroying it. This is so cool. Okay, in the sky, the Big Dipper constellation is missing 2 stars. Batman says that all the stars will go out because of what's happening on Earth. The sun is setting. Batman says they need to move. The Justice League regroups. Batman, Deadshot, Flash, and Lantern return to the League's hidden base camp under Wayne Manor. Mara joins them, walking to the camp across the desert with Arthur's trident slung across her shoulders, carrying two jugs of water, which is indicative of what we saw at the end of Justice League with her in the Nightmare timeline. But what's kind of interesting is okay, so it's the base is underneath Wayne Manor. What I'm thinking is, does Superman and Darkseid think that, like, Batman, there's no way Batman would be crazy enough to have a base out under Wayne Manor? I'm just thinking about that. Okay, Bruce explains that his operation to Lantern. They are planning on a move that will end Darkseid's reign on Earth. Lantern doesn't think they have a shot. He wants to repair his ship and try to find any surviving members of the Corps. Lantern wonders what this League could do to stop Darkseid. And then here comes that Last Supper thing. Reveal post-Darkseid cyborg, now half a man, able to plug into machinery, hanging in the Batcave, working on massive technology. A cosmic treadmill that will help the Flash jump back in time. To what end, Lantern asks. Cyborg tells Lantern the specifics of how time travel works. It's very uncontrollable, and even if they can get Flash to travel back, they can only try this once a year, so that the Earth will be in the very same spot, and the Flash does not jump into solid bedrock. Flash struggles, or space. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's why it only does once a year, because the Earth is constantly moving, so they have to go back on the same day. Otherwise, he could end up in space if Earth is when Earth is rotating around the sun. If he starts to travel here, but ends up here. That's interesting. So, in order to operate it, they need to steal a mother box from Darkseid's army. Oh boy. And they know where one is, but once they power this machine up, they will get his attention. Lantern asks who, and Mara answers, a Darkseid-controlled Superman. Even Lantern has heard of the Kryptonian, worried that he's under the control of Darkseid. He heard his spirit was unbreakable. Deadshot goes on. Across the world, beyond parademons, the entire population has fallen to the anti-life equation, their minds being completely controlled by Darkseid. Deadshot says he remembers when his daughter was taken. It haunts him. Worse than death. Oh, boy. I'm wondering if he would use Will Smith Deadshot. Probably. That would be cool. They need to move forward. The planet alignment is tomorrow night. So, in other words, they're doing it tomorrow night, where Earth will be in the same place where was Bruce first saw Flash in the Batcave. Hence, in BVS, that scene where he comes through and says, "Bruce, she's the key." That's what they were referring to. They won't have another opportunity for an entire year. They may not be here in another year. The plan is that Barry will warn Batman so that they can be prepared, but the Flash will only have 10 to 15 seconds before he's taken apart. So what can he say in that amount of time to Bruce? They all agree it's simple. You have to stop Lex. If Lex is stopped, Darkseid will never come here, and Lex will never slaughter the Justice League. That's true. Bruce pulls Barry aside. Bruce tells him that it won't work. He was trying to stop Lex already. Flash has to say something else, and Bruce says this is his fault. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Bruce admits she was Superman's world. I believe I broke that connection. Bruce whispers in Barry's ear, and Flash's eyes go wide. Flash can't help but say, "No way," Bruce responds. "Tell me that it will change everything." Oh, okay. I think I know what you're saying. All right, so the mission. The mission starts at dawn in a Fury Road inspired Batmobile. Oh, yes, please. Please, for the love of God, give me a Mad Max Batmobile. The Justice League, Batman, Green Lantern, Deadshot, and Mara break into the Stronghold, a cathedral swarming with anti-life control people, Darkseid soldiers, human priests kneeling at a mother box. Batman says as soon as they get the mother box, Superman will be aware of them. Back at the Batcave, Cyborg and the Flash are preparing for Flash's jump. Cyborg makes it clear that the Flash won't have much time. He needs to deliver the message before he crumbles into nothingness. But if Barry succeeds, it won't matter. None of this will have happened. Batman and the others steal the mother box and then make a dead run back to the cave as the Flash and Cyborg prepare for Barry's jump. Superman in pursuit. From a tower, Deadshot fires a kryptonite bullet at Superman's back, but Superman dodges it. Batman asks Deadshot over his comm what happened. Deadshot tells Batman that it's better work. This better save my daughter. Superman flies through the tower, killing Deadshot. Oh boy. Mara tries to remove the water from Superman. He crushes her. So this is basically Superman going through and killing everyone. Green Lantern fires his ring at Superman, but he sends his corrupted heat vision into the ring until the ring explodes, taking Lantern's arm with it. Oh, this would be so. I really hope that if they when they do this, they make it R-rated so we can see all this in its glory. This would be so great. And okay, and then finally it's Batman facing up against Superman. The Flash runs hard on the machine, seconds away from the jump. Batman is armed with the kryptonite spear, but Superman impales Batman with it. Oh boy! And these two heroes struggle. The Flash races as fast as he can, exploding through time just before Superman reaches him. The Flash races back in time, and then he's pulled through time. Then we're with Bruce and Lois as they first argue in Justice League 2, You're Not the Father. Lois storms out of the Batcave. When the Flash arrives, landing in that moment, he tells Bruce that what he didn't hear before. What Bruce whispered in the Flash's ear, Lois lied to you, you're the father. After delivering his message, the Flash vanishes from existence. Lois comes down trying to reconnect with Bruce, who is still reeling from the information. Again, Lois is insisting he listen to her. This time he does. She tells him Lex has a plan to take out the Justice League. Working together, they discover his plan. Suddenly, Darkseid's boom tube opens. Water pours into the cave again. Darkseid looks at Lois. Bruce looking down from behind the glass again. But this time, Bruce goes into action, smashing through the glass, throwing himself in front of Darkseid's Omega beams. As he moves Lois out of the way, he's struck by them, crying out, but he survives. Superman arrives in time to see Batman injured. He flies in a rage, but instead of being broken, he's empowered, angry. Superman puts Darkseid on his heels, and Darkseid is forced to retreat. Lois tells Superman that he has to warn the others. Lex has a plan. With information from Lois on Lex's Injustice League, that sounds so cool. And that's actually in keeping with a couple of Justice League stories from the New 52. All right. Superman saves the League, stopping Morrow from releasing the gas on Themyscira, Orm and Manta from killing Aquaman, and Snyder from taking out Cyborg. Meanwhile, Bruce reveals to Lois that although he's alive, he was hit. There is a darkness growing across his body. He's in pain, but they need to keep fighting. He tells Lois as he boards the Batplane, I could have had a life outside the cave with you. Okay. Bruce leaves across the world. Okay. Earth unites against Darkseid. So Darkseid's full invasion begins, and it's too much for the Justice League to handle on their own. But they won't have to. Led and inspired by Superman, the countries of the world come together. Armies, air forces, and navies. Wonder Woman and her mother lead the Amazons off Themyscira to join the war. In the oceans, Aquaman pleads to the Seven Kingdoms, deploying that there's an eighth kingdom, the surface world, and they must be allies, not enemies. The Seven Kingdoms rise to join the Amazons on the surface. The entire world becomes a Justice League. This is basically like Avengers Endgame, but with every DC character. In a Lord of the Rings-like finale, the history of the three armies that first battled Darkseid echoes itself today. The world of men, the Amazons, and the Atlanteans. As the battle continues, Green Lantern joins the fight alongside the alien Green Lantern Corps. It's the entire DC universe together for the very first time on a scale unlike that's ever been seen before. Battling to save the world together. During the battle, Hippolyta dies, saving her daughter, proud of what she's done. The Flash is able to move so quickly, he masters his powers, existing in 2 places at once. Unstoppable, he takes on an entire army by himself. Cyborg is able to overpower the mother boxes, taking control of them and causing a chain reaction that destroys them, weakening Darkseid. It's ultimately a dying Batman who sacrifices himself to save the League and the world, destroying Darkseid. This sounds so cool. I want to see this. Diana becomes the new queen of the Amazons, leading them to reign the to reign the outside. So in other words, to rejoin the outside world. This is kind of this has some typos in it, and restore and inspire peace. In other words, Amazon becomes more of an open society. If the Amazons at her side, Diana negotiates peace between the countries of the world, unlike anything in history. Arthur is recognized by the kingdoms as a true king that has helped to unite the world. The skepticism over his human heritage not only gone, but replaced with admiration. Cyborg evolves, becoming a god of the digital age. He's able to transform himself to look human again. That's cool. Lois mourns Bruce's death. Superman looks closer, realizing that Lois is carrying Bruce's child. Lois admits it, but he already knows. Maybe he always did, he says. He saw what he needed to, but he doesn't shy away. Instead, he embraces Lois and her unborn child. He has a reason to be Clark Kent again. So 20 years later, after a memorial commemorating the Batman sacrifice, Commissioner Gordon asks Lois, what are you going to tell him, referring to telling Lois's son the truth about his father. For the first time in decades, crime is returning to Gotham, and it needs the Batman again. Various Justice League members like Martian Manhunter are present at this thing. That's cool. Lois takes her son to the Batcave and tells the truth that his father was Bruce Wayne, the Batman. In Gotham, rising from the shadows and over the moonlight, we meet the all-new Batman. End. Okay, this would be amazing to actually put on the screen. Why in the ever-living did Warner Brothers say no to this? I will never know. I mean, what the heck, man? This could have definitely competed with the MCU. That's why they have to bring this back. This is DC and Warner Brothers' best chance to compete with Disney and the MCU. This proves you don't have to do it the Marvel way to make good superhero movies. It's ridiculous when people say they should do it this way. That's how Marvel did it. Because that's Marvel. That's why. But anyway, let's keep tweeting the restore the hashtag. I'm tired. Sorry. Restore the Snyderverse hashtag. Keep tweeting that for dear God. We need that. And so they do that. We're going to get this, what I just went through. And if we get that, everything's going to be so dope. And still give us all the other movies that Warner Brothers already announced. We're not saying replace them. Because actually what DC could do, and I've heard this proposed by fans, they could do like a Black Label thing and have Zack Snyder's universe be the Black Label R-rated universe, where it's a more edgy part of the mythology that exists on an alternate timeline. Now, which of these am I more excited for? Snyder Cut, Snyderverse, obviously, based on the Snyder Cut, which was leagues better than what Warner Brothers gave up. So let's hope soon, at least we get some indication that they're going to do it, because, well, I guarantee you they're going to do it. I'm going to go. I'm going to say they most likely are going to do it. It'll take some time to iron out the specifics, but chances are they're going to restore the Snyderverse. So I'll be happy about that. That's pretty much what we're going to see. Obviously, Snyder has straight up said they're going to change some details of it, which works because that way there's still a little more mystery of it. So I'm cool with that. But basically, I think we're in good hands with Zachary Snyder. So anyway, I think that's enough on this topic for the day. Now, real quick, I'm just going to reiterate our schedule. And this is the way it's going to be for the summer. Mondays is going to be the Knights of Mandalore, and that's the Star Wars series where we'll have like all of our Bad Batch analysis. At least the episode will go up then. Tuesday will be the Halo show. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with that. That may be replaced because Lad and I are talking about doing a show on Bionicle lore, so that'll be fun. Wednesday is going to be all the Snyderverse content that we do. Thursday is going to be the Under Two Capes news show, where I talk about like the latest news in the comic book news pertaining to comic books, comic book movies and such. And then Friday will be the traditional Friday, or sometime during that weekend, will be the traditional Under Two Capes podcast. So that's the schedule. I'm really excited for what we got planned, and obviously also on the YouTube channel, which is Comics League Network, we are going to be doing skits. Lad and I will be writing and recording some skit videos to put on. To put on the YouTube channel. It needs to be like comedic, like inside jokes among comic book fans and stuff. We'll do a couple of ones talking about which is better, Superman or Superman with Wonder Woman or Batman with Wonder Woman. Most likely we'll agree that Superman with Wonder Woman is better. But anyway, so we have lots of great plans for the future. And remember, the YouTube channel is Comics League Network. It has the exact same profile art as the Under Two Capes podcast. That's another thing we're going to do. We will be updating the art for the channel and the podcast. We'll be updating like all of the like the little channel art for the profile picture for the podcast, and we'll be making a nice cover photo for the show. We're going to be basically doing a lot this summer to improve the podcast as a whole. Hope you guys will come with us on this journey. And we are approaching in about a month, will be the 1-year anniversary of this podcast. We'll be doing a very special episode to commemorate that, where we'll basically be talking about more about me and Lad as people, how we started the podcast, what inspires it, how we actually do stuff to manage the podcast, how we do episodes and such. We'll give you guys a real behind the scenes tour of how we do things over here at Comics League Network. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little Snyderverse deep dive. Like, comment, subscribe 100% on YouTube and like anywhere where you get your podcast, because we're pretty much everywhere. And stay heroic, everyone.